Let's take a look here. Alright then, gamers. We've got ourselves an absolutely insane update. This is, in fact, by far the biggest update since the expansion. I guess that's not really that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but maybe it does. In fact, no, it does make sense. I've changed my mind. It does make sense. This is a massive update. There is a huge amount that's gone into this, and it's all dropping on June 28th. But this patch is also kind of like a bit of a foreshadowing for a lot of other things to come in the future. There's a few things that are discussed here that are definitely going to have some kind of long-standing and long-running consequences for the game's future. Some very interesting stuff here. We're going to be talking about fixing core issues in the game, raid easy mode, massive buffs to strike missions, okay, really interesting balance changes, okay, and obviously a whole lot more as well. There's a huge amount to cover. This is a mega patch, an omega patch, okay, a huge patch. Let's go ahead and leap into it. We'll just paraphrase it a little bit, okay? It's Grouch. He's role-playing. It's like, oh yeah, it's me, Josh Grouch here. Back with the latest hot updates on Guild Wars 2 development, right? Wow. Insane, right? While we've been much more transparent about our development priorities of last year, we must admit we've been keeping some secrets from you. On the bright side, you'll learn about a few today. Sorry, not sorry. My God, we're getting sassed by the game director right now. Today's update is hefty, so I've enlisted support from multiple members of the dev team to help relay all the details. We're talking about the upcoming strike mission rewards changes, the work we're doing to address player pain points, and how we're making raids more accessible, invisible bounty houses, and birthday parties. Next profession update. Intrigued? Let's dig in. You know, this sentence here is actually as long as some of the sentences that I have in some of my video scripts, okay? You just keep adding more commas. Let's get into it. So this is actually one of the biggest pain points, I think, with the expansion. That, you know, they took Mystic Coins from Fractals, they gave them the strikes, and we thought, yeah, this is it. Strike missions are going to be big, rewarding content, and it was absolutely putrid. Some of the least rewarding content in the entire game, right? It was a catastrophic failure of calculation by ArenaNet. Like, I have no idea how they thought it was okay. But, and this doesn't actually address everything, by the way. I think there actually are some other criticisms of strike mission rewards, but wow, did they go hard. People complained and ArenaNet went berserk. So they basically flat out doubled the gold across the board. Normal Aether Blade, 2 gold. CM, another 2 gold. Junkyard, 2 gold. CM, another 2 gold. And I like this too. Notice how the harder ones, they actually made them more valuable, right? So obviously, Aether Blade and Junkyard are not as hard as Kaineng Overlook and Harvest Temple. 4 gold on Kaineng, 4 gold on Harvest Temple, and then, of course, 8 if you do the CM. That's 24 gold every week from from doing like a full clear of strikes. But that isn't all. You also get 4 antique summoning stones per challenge mode as well. So that's that actually massively increases the cap. You can get 5 a week from the vendor, 4 a week from CMs, and then 1 a day from Su1. So if you actually wanted to farm antique summoning zones, it's very realistic to do that. And if you actually look at the value that you get from this, you're getting 24 gold liquid, and then 4 ass, which is about, they're about 8 gold each, right? So you're kind of looking at another 32 gold there. You're over 50 gold, right, from this. Okay, and that's, you know, maybe, and that's without, you know, the rares that you're going to get, the exotics you're going to get, like the random identified gear, like you get a bunch of stuff thrown into that. You've got the green crystals too, so there's kind of like some extra base on value. The mystic coins you might be able to get there as well. So there's actually a lot of value from doing strikes. They were already like technically worth doing, but in a very lukewarm milquetoast way. But now this is actually really, really good. They aren't farmable, which, you know, whatever. I guess that's just the way it's going to go, right? They want them to be weekly content. Fair enough, weekly content it is. But still, this is actually a huge change. This massively increases the gold and certainly increases the output from doing the challenge modes in particular, right? Because you're going to be getting 4 gold and an antique summoning stone for the CM. But oh wait, there is more. A new high-end reward is being added to the challenge mode strike missions. The Imperial Everbloom infusion. You can actually see it depicted here. You have these kind of cherry blossoms floating around you, which, you know, that's very in theme with Cantha, right? Quite tasteful as well. It's a nice effect, right? You know, a lot of infusions are kind of horrible and eye-destroying. But this is not the case, actually, with this one. Looks like this time is actually going to be a little bit more tasteful, a little bit more subtle. And you have to do CMs. Well, I mean, not actually. But you can get an account-bound version for free for doing all of the strike mission CMs. All of them. All of them. Bear that in mind. All of them. Okay? And whenever you get a strike mission, whenever you beat a challenge mode, you can also have a chance to drop it that you can sell to other players. This is exactly what I think a lot of content in Guild Wars 2 is missing. A reason to go back to and do it after you've already done it. Obviously, the gold rewards really help, but gold is boring. It's kind of like... right? But this is exciting, right? Boom, I'm dropping a 200 gold infusion. We don't actually know how expensive it's going to be. We don't know how rare it is, right? It could be a 1k infusion. Like, oh shit, it's exciting. It's going to be exciting to do this. It's going to be worth going for that high roll on the strike mission challenge. This is the exact type of thing that I think endgame content in Guild Wars 2 lacks. This excitement, right? Loot in Guild Wars 2 is boring. It's like, oh, I guess it's another pile of unidentified gear. Oh, I guess it's a tier 6 material. Oh, I guess it's a junk item I sell to a vendor for 30 silver. Oh, it's boring. Okay, it's dull as hell. And stuff like this makes it really exciting. It's why people want to do the chak to get that chak infusion, right? What they want to do get the Octovine, to get the Aurelian, right? Like, that's the stuff that makes it fun, right? It makes the game have this kind of like, oh, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? The anticipation, right? The engagement with the reward structures. So this is really, really good. I also like that you have to do all 4 of them to get it for free. I think and you can't sell it either. It's a nice little change there as well. And of course, you're able to sell it to other players too. Very cool stuff. Not too bad there as well. So some really good changes to strike mission rewards. I actually do think that I think they need to increase the shard cap weekly. This is my last remaining criticism of strike missions, because currently the situation you're in, to get even like one piece of ascended gear, one, you're going to have to give up all of your mystic coins every week to do this, and it's going to take you so long. I think a two-handed weapon is 500 shards, right? And you can get 160 green crystals a week. So it's like over 3 weeks to get one weapon. I mean, ugh. I get that it's kind of there for the skins to an extent, right? Like, part of it is the skin, but I don't know, like, kind of gearing up and playing through this stuff, it's got to be a bit of a component there. So I do think that either the prices are too high in terms of shards, or you can't, making it repeatable so you could just farm as many green shards as you want, which is actually how Icebrood Saga works, by the way, to an extent. I think that will be a final, like, little tweak that would make this content, one, a lot more kind of grindable and replayable without inflating, like, making it like the best in slot gold farm, but also just make like getting the rewards, particularly ascended gear, a lot less frustrating, because honestly it's kind of annoying, right? It's expensive and it's slow, which and seeing as this is kind of like the premier endgame content of Guild Wars 2, it should be a good source of ascended gear, in my opinion, right? It just should be, because this is the endgame. This is what ArenaNet is saying is the endgame. Strike missions, this is it. This is your hardcore fix in the game, right? This is what you're going to be doing at endgame. So making it like not give good gear, I think is like very, very weird. But there you go. Absolutely insane change. We've been complaining about this since literally day one. Very cool changes here. I love that it's all not from a vendor and you drop it. And bear in mind, guys, bear in mind, there's another strike mission coming with Living Story Season 1. Okay? So that will be another 2 gold a week, and another ass with the CM. I've got to stop saying ass, guys. That's naughty. Antique Summoning Stone. With that CM. And every time they add a new challenge mode, it will add another Antique Summoning Stone and another 2 to 4 gold. Right? A week. This actually means that as more content is added to the game, that's going to very, very quickly going to build up, right? Your actual income from completing these strike missions, particularly on challenge mode, if you're able to do it consistently. There's only what... I said there was one thing I would change. There's another thing that I'd also like to see with strike mission challenge modes. And that's a big reward for clearing it for the first time, right? And I guess the infusion is kind of that. I guess the infusion is kind of that. But the thing is that right now it's kind of like a bit of a tough sell to, you know, you're gonna have to invest a lot of your time and slow down your account progression to get into these challenge modes. And I like that in raids, when you beat a CM, you get like a bunch of, you get some like writs, some food, and some ascended materials. So you kind of have that initial bump of gold income. Say, hey, look, this was really worth it, right? You know, you got over it and boom, you got some gold. I like first kill bonuses in general. I'd actually extend that to normal mode raids, which kind of already exists actually, and normal mode strikes too. So you just have like oh, you know, it was worth learning. Look, we spent like an hour learning this, but look, we got like a sick reward for the first time, right? I kind of like that. I think that's pretty good. That sort of stuff is what I'm about. But yeah, this is very, very promising. Like ArenaNet, listen, ArenaNet fixed the game, guys. We're also making improvements on how we polish these encounters. In early June, we announced we're delaying the release of the Harvest Temple Challenge mode from June 28th to June 27th to June 28th to give us some additional time to test and tune the content. Bugs are inevitable in game development. We want players to feel confident that new strike missions are high quality and stable. We've learned a lot from the last 3 challenge mode releases and have identified several improvements to our development and quality assurance testing process and how we leverage our internal team of developer playtesters, all of which are being put in place for the Harvest Temple Challenge mode and future releases. I mean, I really hate to be cynical about this, but Kaineng Overlook was such a mess. I mean, it was such a mess that I guess I'm going to kind of believe it when I see it. I've kind of heard this one before, but wow. Like, it was obviously a complicated encounter, but the CM started happening on normal mode. The mech would, like, despawn. Like, the sniper would go neutral. The sniper shot targeted dead entities. It targeted mines. That fight was broken on release. And it kind of still is, to be honest. It was so broken. It targets dead people, right? Like, it just, you know, the targeting is really bad. Like, it, you know, the beam doesn't render unless you kind of look at the character. The telegraphing is a bit scuffed, right? You can instantly die if you phase the boss at the wrong time. I mean, they have fixed a few things, actually. For example, on Anka, challenge, like the 6 stack, she used to kind of bug out at 2% or rather 1% and lose all the 6 stacks for the 6 stack. They actually fixed that. So they have actually been fixing a few bugs. They haven't fixed the Mytrin Boon Rip, okay? But maybe they never will, right? I hope they do, but who knows? But I mean, look, I'm not going to lie, I'll believe that when I see it, because they've had a bit of a rough one with a lot of these challenge modes so far. But I'm glad they're aware of it and they're going to try and fix it. That's what we like to see. That's what I like to see, guys, okay? We're always looking for ways to improve the strike mission experience in Guild Wars 2. We're committed to supporting the game mode as a core element. See, that's what I said as, you know, of endgame PvE. We share the excitement that we've been seeing in the community of strike missions. Look forward to seeing the players experience the Harvest Temple Challenge on June 28th. Yeah, gonna be there. It's gonna be good. Right, next. Strengthening the core. Shortly after the release of the Guild Wars 2 Ender Dragons, we restructured our dev team to support the new initiatives we've been discussing with all of you. Efforts like Living World Season 1, Steam, and so on. However, one of our new initiatives wasn't scheduled to start right away, leaving us with a small group of developers that needed something to do. We knew that this would be a great opportunity to address some smaller projects that have been sitting on our backlog. Things that would benefit veteran players and new players alike. Now that the cat is out of the bag, we can also give this team the credit for the Special Forces training area and dungeon reward changes that release on June 7th. Basically, the Special Forces training arena, they broke it horribly, but they fixed it now. And they also unified all the dungeon currencies too. So let's see. We've got a few kind of like utility changes, I guess, like some little kind of smaller changes that just kind of quality of life by the looks of this. Mouse cursor. This is actually a really big one. It's funny how small changes can be so significant. We're adding a new option to the general options tab that will allow you to choose from 3 cursor contrast modes, off, low, and high. These contrast settings are intended to improve the visibility of your mouse cursor, making it harder to lose track of and easier to find if you do. This should come in handy for areas of the game with a lot of on-screen action like raids, meta events, world bosses, and world versus world. Yeah, this is really cool stuff, actually, because, you know, having to go to an external program to install YOLO Mouse to have, like, a good mouse cursor in-game kind of sucks. Having it in-game is a much better option. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about this. It's a very, very good thing. It is very easy to lose your mouse. The mouse honestly isn't great. The base cursor is a bit scuffed. It's a bit it's very easy to lose. It kind of gets glared out by all the crazy like action that's happening in the game. And as said here, like raids, meta events, world bosses, and world bosses world. So for sure, yeah, it does get really crazy. So it's a huge quality of life upgrade, and I think that's really going to help a lot of players with their precision and piloting the game during these high intensity encounters. Yeah, insane. Repair Despair. Prior to 2014, there was a small fee to repair broken armor after players were defeated in a battle. True. We decided that we didn't want to punish players this way. You know what? Mistake. It should cost you all of your gold. So we removed the costs. However, the chore of repairing broken armor remained. Yeah, that's true, because it was just free, but it was still there, right? It's been a mild inconvenience throughout the years. Happy to report that after June 28th, you'll no longer need to repair your armor after being defeated. The mechanic is kaput, but we didn't want to melt down Tyrion's anvil for scrap. There's something about hammering on one that gets us pumped up for adventuring, After the update, repair cannons and anvils will grant a small bonus to your health and defense with a 12-hour duration. The enhancement will work in PvE and WoW, but not PvP. This is bad. This is a pointless mechanic that adds complexity for no reason. I actually don't care about the power creep. It is power creeping you there. You're getting extra vitality and armor, basically. Right? Essentially, is what this is. And it's not going to be super annoying because it's got a 12-hour duration. My issue with this is more that it's like another thing that you're going to have to learn as a new player during the game. It's like, wait, what's this buff? What does that buff do? How do I get that buff? Do I need that buff? Why do I want that buff? It serves utterly no purpose, right? So I get it. It's kind of a nice idea. It's kind of okay. And I have an infinite repair cannon, so it's not going to bother me at all. But this kind of stuff, it's complicated for no reason, right? Like, it doesn't serve any real function in the game. It's just there because it's there. Is it the end of the world? No. But is it kind of a pointless mechanic that just adds like another small element of complexity for no reason? Yes. And talk to you decide now. The thing is, this statement here, I would actually really critique this line. Realistically, it isn't, right? There's no downside to not doing it. This is essentially like a mild annoyance every 12 hours of gameplay. This is mandatory, right? Like, otherwise you're just, handicapping yourself for no reason. You don't actually have a choice here, right? Like, you're always going to want to do this, which is just, I mean, yeah. Not a huge fan of that, to be honest, overall, but, hey, you don't have to repair your armor anymore, I guess. You just have to get the buff. Get the buff. I didn't see this one coming. This one is spicy. I've been yelling about Raid Easy Mode for a long time. And yes, that's right, gamers. Raid Easy Mode is here. While raids are exciting endgame content, they're dead, and nobody plays them. They have a high barrier to entry and can be difficult to break into. But that doesn't mean that players aren't interested in trying them. In fact, our regular player surveys, raids are often the top content that players say they would like to experience. That doesn't surprise me at all. People, raids are the endgame, right? Dude, raids. Oh, raids. And well, actually, I'm not going to say this yet. I'll say this later, actually. We want to break down some of those barriers and experiment with a systemic approach to making raid content more accessible. Our answer is the Emboldened system, an optional mode that progressively ramps up a player's damage, health, and healing output each time they fail an encounter. Here's how it works. Each week, one of the 7 existing raid rooms will be set to Emboldened mode. Upon entry, raid members will gain their first stack of the Emboldened enhancement, which grants additional health, damage output, and improved healing to aid in their battles against each boss. Each time the raid wipes against that boss, they'll receive another stack of Emboldened, granting up to 100% additional health, 50% increased damage, and 50% increased healing output. Upon defeating the boss, the Emboldened stack will reset to 1. Emboldened mode is entirely optional for those who prefer the challenge. It can be turned off by visiting the Emboldened mode inside that raid. So I can't. Okay, I'll read all of it, actually. Deadly encounter mechanics will still be deadly, and players will need to respect them, but the system will give new raiders a chance to ease into learning them. Note there are some restrictions to this feature. For one, the ability system will be disabled in this challenge modes, and also, like, you can't do Eternal, you can't do Matthias, Simon was wrong, Slippery Slubbling, KCCM, etc. So, you know, funny enough, it actually does work, right, for, like, the prestigious achievements in, like, Wing 6 and Wing 7, which is weird, which is unusual, but... Wait, and Wing 5, right? Can't you do 5-minute statues? They've actually missed out loads of... There's loads of these that have been missed out here, actually. We're also making a few small changes to the existing looking for group categories to create separate spaces for new experienced players looking for group training and looking for group experienced. I think that's really cool. Because this allows players to set an expectation, right? And that means that it shifts all of the responsibility away from the group maker and onto the joiner. If you join an experienced group and you've got no idea what you're doing, you're the asshole. And now the game is saying that you're the asshole as well. You actually have grounds as a player in the game to say, hey man, you joined our group in the experience category and you weren't experienced, right? That's not cool. Right? And in the same way, if you join a training group and you start getting toxic and flaming people, right? Then, yeah, the game is now saying, don't do that, right? You need to stop doing that. That's actually a subtle but really good change here, I think, actually. We hope these changes encourage players to take their first step in Guild Wars endgame PvE content and join the tight-knit raiding community. If you're new to raids and get ready to start it, great guys, oh, good choice. Oh. Friends over at hardstuck.gg? Whoa! We're in! I love to see it. I love to see it. But anyway. So, what do I think about this? So, the first thing that I want to talk about here, actually, is that I think the devs know this, too. Right? Is that players want to do it, but they get psyched out. Right? They get psyched out really hard. And that's why players will try strikes, and they won't try raids, because raids intimidate them. And Emboldened is not actually... It's not actually that strong. Seriously. Because you don't really die to DPS check in Guild Wars 2. You're going to die to mechanics a lot of the time. And it does trivialize certain encounters, like, you know, Veil Guardian is free with this, Gorseval is free as hell, Sabbather isn't. You're going to have to do cannons, although maybe you just, like, break the encounter with, like, mega damage. But you get the picture. Doom isn't free, Kadim isn't free, right? Like, all the more mechanical fights, right, are not going to get trivialized. But I think what this is going to do is going to give people the confidence, right? Okay? To try it. And I think that's the goal of this change. It's not to, like, make it totally free. It's to add a semi-placebo to the game that's going to make it easier. Trust me, I mean, look, 100% health, 50% damage, 50% healing. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. But what it's going to do is it's going to say, oh, you know, look, this is, do it. Look, it's easy mode. Get in there and try it. So, yeah, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I think it's really unfortunate that they weren't able to make a proper easy mode and just, like, nerf the mechanics or change the mechanics. I actually think this is not how the ideal implementation, but let's be honest, guys. Let's read between the lines here. The reason they didn't do, like, a proper easy mode like strikes have, realistically, is because raids are not priority content right now, and I imagine it would be way more work than it's worth to actually go through every encounter, right? And just say, hey, we're gonna, you know, change this mechanic. We're gonna make the flame wall not kill you on Sabbath, right? We're gonna do all this. It's gonna modify all the scripting, all the stuff there as well. Like, it's a good compromise. I really like that you build up stacks as well. I think there's actually a mechanic like this in Final Fantasy. I actually like that it's not immediate there. I think that's really, really good. It's not ridiculously strong either. It's just, like, very, very strong. So pretty cool. I actually do like the implementation. I like that you don't get the achievements. You can't, use it to cheese challenge mode, which I think is really good. There as well, so that's pretty nice. You actually get the same rewards. I think that is a bit of a sting for, players like, oh, wow, okay, right. So you can basically get all the rewards by only playing on easy mode. It certainly devalues them from that perspective, but I mean, we have raid selling in the game, so who cares, really, in that regard. I think that, a lot of the journey is going to be getting it yourself, right? It's going to be like how you got it rather than how other people get it. So, whatever, it's fine. I don't really think the rewards are a serious problem here. Like, if challenge modes were doable with this, I'd be pretty sad. There is one thing, slight personal level here, guys, okay? I actually really dislike that it's enabled by default. This is really annoying. I understand why it is this way. It's because they want it to be like a really inviting thing that you don't have to opt into, but it's actually really annoying because it means that if I want to do like a run, I'm going to have to say, right, guys, okay, everyone turn off the emboldened mode because I have no interest on playing on this mode, right? It does bother me a little bit that you have to go out of your way to play the raids on the normal mode. That's not ideal. In my opinion, I'm not a big fan of that, but whatever. That's how it is. Yeah, for example, doing the speedrun is going to be insanely annoying. Because if I'm going to do the raid full clear speedrun, whatever wing is emboldened, you're going to have a little extra action at the start of that wing to disable the emboldened and then play through normally. Which I get it. That's a very niche concern. But hey, look, you're watching me. I'm going to tell you my opinion as it relates to me. It's not a big deal, but that's how it is. Yeah, and I also do like that it kind of encourages you to keep trying, right? It's like, oh, it's going to get easier. It's going to get easier. I think this is very psychologically effective, actually, because it's like, oh, I presume it's probably 20% health and 10% damage per stack. Wait, how many stacks does it stack up to, actually? Does it say? Is it 5 stacks or 10 stacks? I feel like 5 stacks would be the way to go. It actually doesn't say, but let's just assume that it's 5, right? Let's assume that it's 5 stacks. So you get 20% health and 10% damage and healing for every wipe. That means that, you're going to, if you do actually need all 5 stacks, you're going to wipe a lot. That's going to decrease your gold per hour, basically. So it definitely incentivizes you to not do that, to not use it, essentially. It does mean that, again, it's like, keep trying, keep it up, keep going. Don't disband the group. keep it up, right? Keep trying. So it's really good, right? I think it's very, very nice, actually. I don't mind it. I think it's only one, and I actually like that it's one wing a week. Because you might go, ooh, that's kind of annoying, right? You have to wait all that time. Well, here's the thing. This means that there's going to be one wing that everyone surges towards every single week, right? So it's like, oh, wing 1, let's go. And then everyone's going to pile on. Like, all the new raiders are going to, like, pile on wing 1. Right? And then, wing 2, wing 3, or whatever. Right? I like that. I think that's actually effective. I think that adding that kind of focal point is actually very effective. It's why I like Boss Rush, Fractal Rush, PvP bonus events, World versus World bonus events. All the bonus events is like really effective, right? So yeah. This is a very, I like this. I think this is probably, with the limited resources that ArenaNet have, this is probably the best possible case scenario implementation for this. It doesn't totally break the content. It's definitely very much a psychological thing they're trying to do here to make players feel more comfortable to try it, like strike missions, which is great. And instead of like just totally breaking the encounter, they've disabled like the really prestigious achievements, which is really good for this stuff. And it really encourages you not just like face rolling. It encourages you to keep trying, right, and learn the mechanics, right? It's pretty good. And then hopefully get onto all the raid content. I think they thought about this a lot, right? Seriously, I think they really, really thought about it and came up with a pretty good solution. And honestly, it's interesting actually, because that kind of opens the door to, maybe some other changes to raids, right? To the rewards, perhaps, to the challenge modes. Hey, maybe even Wing 8. Or Wing 8, maybe not, right? a little bit, that's a little bit questionable there, but who knows? Okay, who knows? Who knows? And yes, look at that, guys. Hardstuck. We're on the pay. We're on the post. Okay, we're in. Let's go. Okay, let's get in it. Hell yeah. Know your boundaries. Hello, everyone. It's your friendly neighborhood senior game designer, Nick Hernandez. Here to talk about an update we're making to story instance boundaries. Instance boundaries are the red outlines around playable systems. What do they do to them? Tell me. Okay? You walk an inch over and then get kicked. Yeah, that's not good. That is very annoying, actually. Ah, I see. We've applied soft instance boundaries. So basically you get pushed back. Yeah, you get like bounced off the walls, basically. That's how like a lot of open worlds are. I like that. That's pretty good. You know, weirdly enough, I think this has always been like a weird thing. Like, would it really be so bad if the player could actually move away from the NPCs? Would that really be such a bad thing? I've always found it so weird that you can't explore everywhere in a story instance. You have to stay in this very confined space. It's always been weird to me, to be honest. But they've added like bouncy walls now. There you go. I mean, nice little change. I mean, it's a nice change, right? You know, it's one of those things that is actually really annoying. And now it isn't. I don't think I've really had much trouble with it because I just don't go outside the boundaries, but I know that a lot of people have trouble with that. Good change. Very nice. All right, here we go. Whoa. June Professions Update Preview. Ooh, Bounds Patch Gaming. Yes. Yes. Hello, Solo. How you doing? Banners, Spotter, and Fury. One major goal for this update is for the same build and equipment to work both in and out of organized play. It's a good goal. Unique stacking. Well, I mean, it already does. Let's be honest. Like, this is a. I'd be a little critical of this statement. You can already do this. You know, it'll work. It won't be quite as effective, but it'll work just fine. It's not gonna like break. Unique stacking bonuses to attributes, especially precision, have been a problem here. There are existing means that when playing in coordinated groups with Spotter and Banner of Discipline, your critical hit chance is almost 10% higher than when playing alone. True, and that is a bit scuffed. We saw an opportunity here to make progress on one of our other long-standing goals, raising the floor on player effectiveness and damage output without further raising the ceiling. Basically making the game easier to play. In this update, these unique stacking attribute bonuses are being changed to provide boons instead. You know what's interesting about this is that what do they mean by this? Do they actually mean all attribute changes? They mean Spotter, don't they? They mean empower allies. They mean Assassin's Presence. When they say this. Yeah, because Spotter gets brought a bit. That's actually super interesting. So that means that Spotter is going to pulse Fury, I'm guessing. So Soul Beast provides Fury now. Empower Allies is going to pulse Might, I assume. What would Assassin's Presence be? I guess, because they probably want to make it not Might, right? Because they already did that with Warrior. Pinpoint. What would Pinpoint be? Yeah, what would that actually be? Yeah, so it looks like that they're really going to be rejiggling a lot of these traits and kind of like stat increases to give boons instead, right? There'll be like a pulsing boon while you're in combat thing or something like that. And yeah, maybe it's just Might. I mean, it could just be Might, I guess. But yeah, this is pretty interesting. It's pretty damn interesting indeed with this stuff. But we'll see what they do there. We're making the critical hit chance of them much more accessible by increasing the critical hit chance bonus from the Fury boon from 20% to 25%. That's actually a really big deal, by the way. Adding an additional 5% critical hit chance to many profession traits. Look, gamers. People said I was an idiot for saying that ArenaNet would compensate for the loss of precision. And look, they literally did it right now. You know what's interesting about this is this actually benefits Condi builds a fair bit as well. And I don't think this is actually necessarily just... I mean, they're obviously trying to make it so power builds work. This is actually really good, though, for Condi builds as well. Because a lot of a lot of the time you have like an on-crit trait, like Virtuoso, Scourge, Renegade, right? So having that extra 5% precision is actually really relevant with the extra Fury. And wait, what does this actually mean for stuff like... what does this mean for, like, Herald? Isn't this like 50% crit on Fury in PvE because it doubles your output from Fury. So 50% crit from Fury. Ooh. It's pretty juicy. This is PvE only, bear that in mind, guys, right? And yeah, they'll be doing like extra 5% crit on stuff like, all like the, you know, the crit traits, right? Is this actually enough for Warrior? I guess maybe Warrior it probably gets like another trait so it can max out on its precision, right? But yeah, a lot of classes need this stuff for sure, right? Like a lot of things need a bit of extra crit chance after you lose Spotter. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I hate to say it, guys, okay? But I actually do think this is a good change. Like, it's good for the health of the game. This stuff wasn't as important as people thought it was. The players obsessed over banners, spirits, spotter, where in reality it doesn't really matter, right? Like, it doesn't matter. If you play a power build with like 90% crit, are you gonna wipe in a raid encounter? Nah. You're gonna wipe if you play badly and like mess up the mechanics. You're not gonna wipe to like not having 10% crit, right? So this was not actually an issue. The community was just misinformed and made it an issue for no reason. It's the same reason why Tempest didn't see play, right? Tempest was honestly better than Druid flat out for a long period of time, but players refused to play it because it didn't have spirits. But this was just flat out misunderstanding, a lack of knowledge in the broad player base on what's actually important. But removing this is flat out good, right? Because now this misinformation is irrelevant, right? And it's just one less thing to think about. And as much as I hate to say it, streamlining the game down a little bit in this direction, it's just gonna be good. Like, the game is so confusing to new players already. Yeah, does it make the game a bit more boring? Yes. If you're a speedrunner, is this change boring? Yes. But maybe not. Maybe you'll have some kind of novel ways to apply boons from Warrior, like Might on Warrior again, something like that. So there's maybe some other potential where there's some other kind of fun min-maxing you can do at high level. But, you know, the game is too complicated, right? It's very, very complicated, you know? In that regard. And I think this is good. I think the one thing that is really scary about this, and this is the elephant in the room with Warrior, guys, Warrior is only played right now for banners. Only played. I actually think a lot of Warrior mains wanted banners gone for a while, but I think you have to be careful what you wish for. I think this kills Warrior, actually. Because this is a colossal nerf to Warrior, specifically. An absolute apocalypse nerf. Because banners are what, like 2k stats on your group? That's like an extra player. That is an apocalypse for Warrior. And realistically, is support Warrior going to be able to compete with Firebrand? Right? I mean, no, it's not, right? Maybe some kind of like Diviner Warrior. Maybe all the banners have a bunch of boons, right? And, you know, you can apply, like, loads of boons with Banner Warrior, some kind of heal quickness Banner Warrior, but realistically, you don't, and this is the other elephant in the room, and I think I'll kind of I might as well get into this now, actually. The really big, like, huge elephant in the room here is they're talking about, like, key boons, Might, Fury, Quickness, and Alacrity. Guys, you forgot Stability and Aegis. Oh, shit. Yeah, and this is the actual problem here. So it's all very well and good having quickness and alacrity on all your classes, but here's the problem. There are certain specializations that have all of that, and they also have stability and Aegis, right? Specifically Mechanist and Firebrand. And they do this with zero trade-off. Firebrand has zero trade-off for this, right? If you want to give a boon on any other class, you have to absolutely break your back to give stability, right? Whereas Firebrand, you take literally the best, probably one of the best skills in the game for like almost no penalty. You have an insane toolkit built in, right off the bat there. You can take Advance for free, basically. You have Tome 3, Tome 2, right? You have God-level utility baked in for free. And particularly Stability and Aegis, make Mech and Firebrand insanely oppressive. They're not actually good at healing, right? They're actually not. Heal Scourge is way better at kind of barriering than Mechanist is, and Tempest heals way more than Firebrand. Way more than Firebrand. And seeing as Tempest is going to get Alacrity now, it also has a key boon. But the problem with Tempest is that it doesn't have the same level of versatility as Firebrand or Mechanist, right? And that is where you have problems, right? That's where you're going to have issues. So I think that they're sorting this out with key boons by throwing loads of might. And I guess loads of those traits are just going to pulse might. Like stuff like Assassin's Presence is going to be pulsing might, right? So you're just going to have like 25 might permanently, right? Great, right? I mean, that's pretty good. That's not too bad. But they really need to look at Stability and Aegis a lot. And I think the way they need to go about this is this pains me because this is terrible design, by the way. Every support build needs to apply every boon. Oh, it genuinely pains me to say that because that is atrocious design. It essentially annihilates class identity, but they can't do this because there are some classes that have everything, and I don't think they're going to be willing to nerf that. They're not going to like take away a boon from Firebrand, right? So you have to take another class, right? I think they're much more likely to add boons to every class, right? So, you know, Tempest will get Stability, right? I think we're going to have, you know, you're going to have Warrior gaining some stability output, right? And maybe, I don't know, like something else gets Aegis, right? You're going to see more being added rather than nerfing the overpowered stuff. I think they're going to bring everything up to the same level in terms of support builds, because otherwise you aren't going to be able to ever compete, because versatility is king. This is a fundamental thing that people never understood about Guild Wars 2 Balance. It's all about versatility. That's what it all is. It's how much can you do with zero trade-off? How flexible can you be? And that's why builds like Scourge, Firebrand, Renegade, Mechanist, that's why they dominate, because they're incredibly versatile. They have so many tools in the toolkit that they can handle any situation without changing a build, which makes it a really convenient pick for building groups and also an unbelievably effective pick at the same time. So this still needs a lot of work here for sure, but I think these are some really good changes overall there. I think it will be good for the game. It will streamline the game down, make it less complicated, which is good. But there you go. Several traits from only self-sources of Fury to now share Fury. Ooh, that means Scrapper. That's actually big. That means Quickness Scrapper. That means, yeah, because you have short fuse, right? Whenever you do an explosion, you gain Fury. That probably means that that just means every explosion you give is going to give AoE Fury. This is actually huge. This is going to change a lot, actually, I think, in terms of Fury and Might sources. So if you could, now you can like share like Giga Might, or if you're playing something like a, if you're playing a Scrapper. Well, you can share Fury, right? If you're playing Scrapper, you can do Fury and Quickness. It would be nice to have Might there as well. But you know what would be fun? Okay. Ooh. I wonder if they did this. I wonder if you know, like the Scepter trait, guys, in Guardian, in Zeal, where you gain Might when you proc your F1. I wonder if they would ever make that AoE as well. So you can do like AoE. I mean, that would be kind of good on DH, right? Oh, not really though, because you want to use your F1 on DH. So it wouldn't be good actually. I was like, oh, 25 Might share on Dragon Hunter. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's really cool. I think this is actually one really, really cool thing that ArenaNet can do here to make DPS classes more hybridy. DPS classes need to be more hybrid in the game, because that's what actually makes a good DPS build. Why is Firebrand so good? Because it's a hybrid build. Why is Weaver not good? Because it's completely selfish and worthless, right? That's why. Although it isn't worth it. It's a good DPS build. But, you know, it's very selfish, right? And that's why it tends to not perform quite as well. Oh, wait. Is that... Wait, whoa. What about the Might generation on Necro? From Soul Reaping? Oh, ooh. Dude, we don't know what they're going to do here, but there's actually so much that could actually change. Like, there are so many builds that could become insane, actually, or like so strong in a kind of hybrid context. Ooh, yes. A present for each profession. This update is focusing on adding or improving skills, traits, or weapons in each profession in a way that introduces new builds to try it. It was important to us that there was something to be excited about in this update for every profession. Here's a small selection of what to expect on June 28th. Tempest will now be able to provide party alacrity with a rework to their Grandmaster trait, Loose Singularity. That trait is actually a kind of a dead trait. It's like whenever you can break out of Immobilize when you overload, and you can't be immobilized while overloading, basically. Well, any snare. This is a very interesting change, because this actually means that if you play Heal Tempest, you lose healing on auras. Oh! Ooh, ah! Yeah, that sucks, actually. This, to me, really leans towards a hybrid DPS, actually. I think the build that's actually going to really spawn from this is maybe like a Celestial Tempest or a Ritualist Tempest in that type of direction. Because that's cool, because you can do Might, you can do Fury, you can share it anyway, you can do Vigor, you can do Protection with Earth Overload, and you can do Alacrity there as well. Okay, that's one hell of a build, actually. But the heal build, you're honestly not super happy to take this, because you're going to lose your Elemental Bastion, which is a huge part of your output in terms of healing. So you're not super happy about that. I mean, I guess you kind of have so much healing, maybe it doesn't matter. You have like a crazy amount of healing anyway on Tempest, particularly if you play Staff, which you can definitely get away with in the current meta. You can play Arcane with Staff, and yeah, maybe you can get away with that, and it works out. You can do like Staff, Heal, Alac Tempest. I see it. I can see it. Engineer. That trait just removes CC. You didn't read the... Look. Archmaids, they'll after you. You got to read it. It gives alacrity now. Okay? It's a lack. That's why you would want to take it. You're not watching the stream. You got to pay attention. You got to keep up. We've updated multiple rifle weapon skills to better support engineer power damage builds. We've adjusted minimum and maximum ranges on several range-limited traits, such as aim-assisted rocket, high caliber, and no-scope. So there's an effective range in which all of them can function together. That is pretty funny, actually. I like that. That does entertain me. I like it. That's good content, right? I mean, the rifle changes are pretty interesting, actually. So that means that Rifle Hollow, I think, is going to get quite nicely buffed. Thumbs up there. Love to see a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And yeah, high caliber, they're just probably going to, I guess, increase the range threshold so you can use it and aim as a rocket and no scope at the same time. Just slight usability tweaks to this there as well. Not crazy stuff there. And unless they're talking about like reworking the skills a little bit, but I mean, they didn't really have anything, and you're like, whoa, we'll change the rifle skills, I guess. I mean, Power Hollow is good, right? Like, Power Hollow is a good build. I mean, even Rifle Hollow, I mean, I still play Rifle Hollow because I just like the build a bit more. You get to play Bomb Kit and Grenade Kit, which I think is just fun. I like playing with kits. Still a very strong build, and, you know, seeing it buffed, I mean, I'm happy about that, I guess. Guardian. We've updated Guardian's Signet skills, including a significant improvement to Signet of Resolve. Okay. I mean, I can't really comment on this because I have no idea what this means. I mean, I think the thing to watch out for here is I wonder what this looks like with Signature. I think they're actually talking about the active components here, because I think the passives are okay in general. But hey, maybe they're actually, no, you know what? Fuck it. They're boring. We want to make them spicier. Maybe they do. I mean, it looks like they're mostly looking at the heal skill here, because, yeah, the heal signet is a bit meh, to be honest. But, yeah, certainly watch out for that. Could be interesting. Mesmer. Chronomancer will be able to effectively choose to provide either quickness or alacrity based on their Grandmaster trait selection, and do so more easily, with increased radius and application methods that are easier to keep up with moving groups. So this is an interesting one, actually. I do like that. So you can do both now. So you can do Mirage Alack, you can do Chrono Alack and Chrono Quickness as well, and still do damage. I think this could actually spawn some pretty interesting builds. They're also increasing the radius. That's actually a massive buff to seize the moment here as well. I do think Chrono needs a bit more. I think they should probably just revert Chaos Chrono so you can just share loads of boons there as well at the same time. Maybe slightly increase the damage output you can do at the same time with a Quickness Chrono. Maybe look at Signet of Inspiration, make it a little bit stronger, because Chrono is a bit... EOD was not kind to poor Chrono, right? Like, one target SOI, Signet of Inspiration, that was a tough one. It was a tough one, guys. That was a little rough. And I think it's funny, actually. Like, this one is interesting. Yeah, and Virtuoso kind of stole it, because you would take... Oh, but you can take Portal, right? Well, you can take Virtuoso now. So the thing is with this is pretty interesting in World vs. World, because Chrono is actually really important in World vs. World. And you actually take a self-alacrity trait in World vs. World. So you'll actually be providing AoE Alack now in World vs. World, most likely. So a little subtle change there. And of course, we'll see how this kind of pans out in every game, but when we actually see the full notes, it's very hard to make judgments now, currently, specifically, because we don't see the full notes. And I imagine there will be some PvP exclusive stuff too. This is just like the general like overall mechanics changes. We haven't actually talked about like the PvP balance splits, for example, yet. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on there. Necromancer. Updates to Warhorn and the related trait Banshee's Wail will improve the Necromancer's ability to provide healing to allies. So wait, like wait, what? What? What does this mean? So, I mean, I guess that what this is gonna do is it's going to, like, the locusts will heal allies, I guess. And if you take the trait, it makes it even better. Heal necro buffs. Now, I mean, this is an interesting thing. So, honestly, Banshee's Wail is a bit of a tough trait to take because it actually competes with an amazing skill. Trait, rather, and that's Vampiric Presence, which is like a really nice sustain thing. Heal Necro can actually heal. This is actually a very common misconception. Heal Necro actually heals a lot. Transfusion on full heal Necro will heal for around 1,000 a second, nearly permanently to 5 targets. Actually heals a lot. But yeah, now you heal even more with Warhorn. There you go, I guess. That's pretty cool. Maybe it gives regen too. Maybe there's a bit of regen going on there. Vampiric Presence gone now. Oh, that's a good question, actually. Maybe they are going to delete Vampiric Presence. What would it even be, though? Would it, like, oh, wait, would it pulse regen, maybe, instead of a unique modifier? Ooh, I thought that would actually be, like, a really strong, that would be, like, a really strong buff to heal Necro, actually. Ooh, perma regen. Ooh, oh, exciting times. I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. I get it. Ranger. Spirit skills have been overhauled to provide boons and allow rangers to opt in to providing alacrity with the traits Nature's Vengeance. So you're going to have to go nature magic for this. Is there any build other than Druid where you could fit in nature magic? I feel like it's really hard to do that, actually. It's like really hard to do it. Could you do it? So this is mostly like a Druid targeted thing, I think, which is fine. I mean, I think that's fine. And now in just general, you just apply more boons. Honestly, this is pretty good, I think. DPS, good trade-off. Yeah, I guess you can fit it in. Play a DPS build and have nature magic. So you can have like a hybrid DPS. This is actually, I think, some kind of like Boon Beast build. This could be super interesting, right? Or something like that. And you're just applying, because bear in mind, every spirit's going to give boons. So you're going to have like loads of prot, you're going to have regen, you're going to have vigor, might on Frost Spirit, I presume, right? So a lot of might output. This is super interesting for Untamed and Soul Beast, right? Android too. So I think Ranger's going to get a lot of new potential builds. This one. Because bear in mind, you're going to get way more boons and way more kind of like diversity of boons and alacrity. So it looks like the spirit trait is going to be, whenever you use a spirit skill, you're going to give AoE alac. Right? Pretty interesting, right, in that regard. That's a pretty interesting meme. So there you go. Aegis and alac. Wait, where's the Aegis from, Mela, on Druid? Is it like, do you get Aegis on the nature? You get stab on nature spirit, right? The tiger pet. Oh, yeah, the tiger pet. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the tiger pet. That is pretty big, actually. That's juicy. So yeah, Druid kind of has the full suite then. You have alac, You have Stab on Nature Spirit, which is a bit questionable, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? You have Might, you're going to have the Fury, you're going to have all the good stuff, like Regen, Vigor, like a full memes, right? All right. I get it. It's pretty interesting. Druid back on the menu, boys. Okay, we're back in business. I think, look, I don't want to overhype people. I actually think that Druid, and this is probably going to need a bit, there's going to be some teething issues here. Like, I hate to underline this again, but seriously, Firebrand and Mech are very overloaded and also very convenient. The way they operate is very, how can I say this? Unskillful. And this means that if you're gonna put something that's kind of gimmicky, kind of weird, and kind of inconvenient up against it, it's a little bit of a tough sell because of the way it is. So yeah, and Druid does have really good utility. So I think if anything can do it and kind of muscle its way back in, it is going to be Druid, because it does have some real... Druid has a really nice toolkit, or Ranger has a really nice toolkit, right? In general, but yeah, it's still hard because Firebrand and Mech are so robust. Thief. The Shadow Arts trait line has been updated to provide better support options to synergize with Spectre, as well as updated options for stealth and defensive gameplay. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun in PvP and World vs. World. Hopefully CMC has obliterated that. So... what do I mean, we don't... It's hard to say what this means. I think that what they're trying to target here is the heal Spectre build a little bit. And I like that. But I think if they want to fix the heal Spectre build, they need to target other areas of the output it has. It should probably apply 25 Might somehow in Shadow Arts, I guess. Or it should somehow be able to apply more boons than it does right now. Because in general, like, Spectre really... It doesn't have, like, the trait synergy required to really have that full spectrum of boons required. You can't do Fury, Swiftness, a little bit of Might, and Alacrity, and some, like, random boons there as well. So, alright, I kind of get it, but, yeah. There it is. I just, like, skipped Rev. Yeah, because I fucking hate Rev. That's why. But actually, I don't. I like Rev. I'm a Rev fan. Yeah, you can do Vigor as well, Bountiful Theft. So I think it will probably need a bit more work here. But again, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll see. It's like a massive rework. We'll take it out. I mean, we'll check it out on Friday, right? But hey, you know what, guys? Okay? What if they just, like, delete all the stealth and just delete Shadow Arts Daredevil? Oh, yes. Good content. Rev. Legendary Centaur stance skills and Salvation have been updated to better support healing rolls, while Herald will now be able to provide quickness to allies with the trait Draconic Echo. The only update I want to see is the heal on Tablet having a bigger radius and pulsing instead of, like, one giant heal. Pulse heals are essential because it means you can heal the other subgroup really easily, more effectively. And I think... what are they going to do here? I mean, I don't want to speculate too much because, look, we're literally going to find out later, so I'm not going to speculate, but yeah. Alak is gone. Yeah, the Alak should be gone too, because of course what they're trying to do here is they want to make you, they don't want to make it so you can give quickness and alacrity to Herald on Herald, because they don't want that on Chrono either, right? So Herald will give quickness now with Draconic Echo, and it looks like they may remove the alacrity and just give it more healing and, like, more boon output. And so, like, they'll change the boon, right? They'll change the boons. So it'll be, like, more protection or more vigor or more regen or more this, more that, or a pulsing heal, right? Or a bigger radius. They'll change that and just remove the alac. Because Renegade has alacrity and Herald has quickness. They don't want to have the two things like they're there at the same time. And the trait choice here is pretty interesting, actually. Draconic Echo. So Draconic Echo... is basically whenever you use a facet, you kind of pulse the effect for a while. So I presume it's going to be whenever you actually activate a facet, you give AoE quickness. This is kind of scary in PvP, by the way. Like, holy shit. I mean, Herald has fallen off a little bit compared to Willbender, but man, like, there's nothing that quite scares me more than PvP and AoE quickness. We'll see. We'll see how that one goes, right? We'll check it out. When we get there. But, you know, pretty cool stuff. Guys, I'm DC'd from the game. That's unacceptable, right? Unacceptable, my friends. But yeah, I actually really like that. You know, Power Herald and Boon Herald, that was one of my favorite builds in the entire game. I loved Boon Herald. It was so good. Made a video guide on it. And holy shit, ArenaNet eviscerated my beautiful Power Herald on EOT launch. They actually gutted poor Power Herald. Holy shit. Oh, dear, dear, dear. But there you go. Well, there you go. Well, you need it? Yeah, but it's not AoE rim. That's the difference, right? Like, I think you can tell there's an AoE and single target, right? So I think this will be really good. The thing about Herald is it also has Chalice, and that actually means you can give stability. So you could do Chalice Glint on Herald and do stability. Then you could do Might, Fury, Swiftness, Protection, Quickness. Okay, that's a very convincing boon package, right? Decent DPS, Might, Fury, Swiftness, Prot, and also Quickness in a DPS with great CC, really high durability. Okay, that's a build right there. That, you know, that's back on the goddamn menu, you know what I mean? We're back on the menu now when it comes to Herald. Like it. Very cool. I'd like to see maybe a bit more of a damage buff, right? So a little bit more DPS, because I think it's around like 25k right now in that sort of range. I think that it should be nudged, particularly seeing as Assassin's Presence is dead. That was actually a really big DPS increase. So I'd nudge it. I'd nudge it up towards the 30k mark, I'd say, for the quickness build, right? Something on those lines, right? And then make like maybe even more than, honestly, more. Dude, quickness Firebrand is broken. It can be more than 30k. Dude, Firebrand is one hell of a drug, okay? Oh, goodness me. But yeah, I like it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have a trade-off. Having a trade-off to sack the DPS trait to give quickness is good, though. That's actually healthy. Banner skills have been overhauled to provide boons. Through deploying banners and update to Warhorn's charge skill on the tactics trait Martial Cadence, warriors can provide quickness to allies. So they're really going to push this tactics build, so kind of like the support, probably the support build. Now, this I do find a little questionable here, guys. Because for those who don't know, Martial Cadence is a Grandmaster trait in tactics. And that means it competes with Shout Heal. Ah! I mean, maybe the boon duration is... deploy... Yeah, putting a banner gives quickness and you have charge. So maybe if you have, like, really good boon duration, right, you can maybe get away with, you know, playing like a Shout Heal, like heal warrior build, while you're also playing, you know, you've got Warhorn and you just have high boon duration. Putting down a banner is going to apply quickness by the looks of this, which is a pretty interesting, it's pretty fucking strong, I guess. And, you know, with the Warhorn, maybe it's enough. But, yeah, I think, you know, I kind of like this, you know. Well, I'm a little sad about that. I think it'll be kind of cool to be able to take the Shout Heal trait, play like a heal warrior. You also play that at the same time. I don't know, right? We'll see. Want Shout to be a thing? Well, I think it's really important that every profession has basically a heal build, right? I think a heal build should exist, right, for every profession. Because I think, you know, variety of playstyle is pretty cool, right? But yeah, I mean, this build is actually... I could see this working, because now the banners are probably going to give protection, like Banner of Defense. You're going to have quickness, you're going to have might, fury, probably swiftness, I hope they give regen, right? I think they'll probably give regen. I think they could really go ham on this, right? Yeah, that's true, yeah. Shouts aren't good anyway, because you have to take banners. That's true, actually, yeah. Because you're almost certainly going to... If you're going to play like this banner warrior, banner support warrior, you're going to take all 3 banners, minimum. There's no way you're not going to. Maybe you even take War Banner too, right? I'm super interested what build you even play this on. Like, and this is actually a really big problem with Warrior, in my opinion, is that Warrior doesn't have a support spec, right? What are you gonna, like, Core doesn't really have anything inherently supporty. Neither does Berserker, neither does Spellbreaker, neither does Blade Sworn, right? It's a little bit weird, right? Faster the roll compression might be off the table. Yeah. Fast, because then you can do 25 might as well. Or very easily 25 might, right? Full banner tank Spellbreaker with Warhorn. I mean, yeah. But I think I'd like to see more. I'd like to see one of the elite specs actually changed to be made into... have a support option. Right? So I would like to see, hey, maybe Spellbreaker gets a few support traits. So you actually have this full cohesive build to go with these banners, right? Maybe Bladesworn does. I think that could be interesting. Although I think it would make sense to actually maybe rework the meditation skills, because Spellbreakers are a bit like Paragons, right? So I think kind of leading into the Paragon stuff there a little bit would be pretty cool, actually, to have that in there. So rework those skills, because those skills suck anyway, right? But yeah, there you go. Yeah, Diviner's Berserk, Boons support. Yeah, I think like a Diviner Warrior could be interesting. But dude, hell, maybe even like a Ritualist Berserker. Like, Ritualist gear is really strong. Never underestimate that, right? And then you take like a double banner and you apply like Prot, you know, you've got Prot, Vigor, Quickness, right, on a Ritualist Berserker. I can see that. That kind of makes sense to me. Because bear in mind, guys, what Warrior does have is massive damage output. You have colossal DPS on this build. You really, really do. And so that if you take Ritualist gear, you're still going to do like high damage, and you're going to be able to have this boon support kind of built in there as well. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. And again, I'm making some very kind of wild predictions here, but I think it is worth noting that we haven't seen the notes yet. When we see the notes, we're going to be able to actually make some proper predictions. This coming Friday, June 24th. Boom! Ooh, wait, what? Full notes on June 24th to give you time to comb through them in detail and plan ahead for the update. Stay tuned for updates on World vs. World development this week as well. They don't say what day. Wait, guys, do I have to stream tomorrow? Because wait, what day is it today? Today is Wednesday. So later this week, it's either Thursday or Friday. They only have 2 days, okay, to actually do the update. It's on Friday. Wait, is it on Friday? Oh, he confirmed Friday. Okay, Grouch confirmed it's Friday. Okay, right. All right. I don't have to stream tomorrow then. That's good. Well, I'm going to be on Xandri's podcast, but I'm not streaming. So that's fine. All right. Very cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. That's it for this edition. We'll be back in early to mid-July to share our development roadmap through the end of summer. To those who made it all the way, we salute you and we look forward to seeing you in the game on June 20th. This is a massive patch. Holy shit. Okay, ArenaNet were really playing this one close to the chest. This is easily the biggest update since the expansion, and I love it. Oh my god. ArenaNet have actually just fixed the game. My favorite. Ooh. Delicious taste, okay? Oh, so good. Big update, okay? Massive patch here on the 20th. Oh, they didn't even mention this, by the way. Bonus meme, we have the new legendary weapon as well, right? There's another legendary weapon coming out on June 28th as well. I mean, they haven't officially said it, guys, but I mean, it's going to be Mordramoth, guys. You know, Zaitan was first, then Mordramoth, but yeah, that's coming too, actually. There's another, like, really big update. So, yeah. It's some cool stuff. Like, this is a big day. It is a big day. Yeah, and you got the challenge mode as well, like the Harvest Temple CM, which is huge. You can begin your hyper farm. Like, oh, looking forward to that World vs. World. This is actually an insane change. I love what ArenaNet's doing here. And what I like is that all of this is actually happening. So when I say, wow, ArenaNet are actually fixing the game, it's not, you know, no one can say, Teapot, you're on copium. They're not going to do it. This is confirmed. This is actually happening, right? This is happening. Ooh, yeah. That's one thing I want to mention. That's conspicuously missing here. Why have they not talked about maybe reducing the research notes cost on like the variants? Why is it 10k? Darkbringer. Why is it 10k research notes, buddy? Per variant. Why Darkbringer, do you hate your players? Do you despise people who play Guild Wars 2? Is Guild Wars 2 a social experiment to see how many little icons you can make someone quit before they rage quit? I mean, I'm not going to get into it right now, but the reason why research notes are a problem isn't because it's a gold sink. No one cares about that. It's because they're extremely unfun. They are spectacularly anti-player enjoyment factor. That's why they're bad. Yeah, that didn't get mentioned here, but I'm sure they're thinking about it. In fact, they've already said they're thinking about it, but yeah. Wow, there's some really, really good changes. Like, some very thoughtful. Like, what I like about this is that a lot of it is non-random, right? Like, sometimes when ArenaNet does stuff, it's like, what were you thinking? You didn't think this through at all. And then they end up kind of backtracking a little bit or having to fix it. But a lot of these changes are in my opinion, very careful, right? Very, very careful and very thought through. And it makes sense, right, why it's taken so long. Because I imagine they were really going, okay, how are we going to fix strike mission ones? Okay, what's going to be in this big balance patch? You know, what are our goals? I'd like to see more of this, actually, from the balance team. I'd really like to know what their vision is. What does the perfectly balanced Guild Wars 2 look like? What does that look like? I don't think I actually know just yet. Anyway, I'd like to know, but who knows? We'll find out. They didn't talk about PvP and World versus World balance, and I think there will be some PvP and World versus World balance, actually, to be honest, kind of baked into these, but again, we can't really see that because we don't see the full notes, and we also don't see the PvP splits, right, which I imagine CMC, he'll be kind of grinding out there as well, so yeah, it's good stuff. What an incredibly good update, and we're already getting teased. We've got World versus World news on Friday, and early to mid-July, so in other words, kind of like the first half of July, probably, we get another development roadmap. And that's a big one. That is a juicy one. That is a very, very juicy one here, because they're going to talk about Season 6 in that, almost certainly. You're probably going to hear about Steam a little bit. You're going to hear about maybe the remaining episodes of Season 1. Right? Probably a little bit about alliances. That's going to be a big one. This is going to be a hot development roadmap. Stay tuned for that, guys. But yeah, there it is. That's the news. Well, that's a big news dump now. We really, we're doing a lot of reading there, guys. A lot of stuff to talk about there. What do you guys think about the changes? Pretty damn good stuff. Very, very big stuff indeed. Subscribe on YouTube, guys. Because you know, if you're like, wow, I missed Teapot's analysis. Oh, no. Good news. This is going to be on YouTube. So get in there right now and subscribe. And then, if you're on YouTube right now, say, look, we're doing the double. We're going to do the double way here, guys. If you're on YouTube, you can come on watch on Twitch. Because I did this on Twitch. So you could go in the description of the video. Okay, and then while you're subscribing, come and follow me on Twitch as well at the same time. And follow me on Twitter. Follow me on all of my social media. Wow, that's so crazy. Whoa. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, gamers. That's all for now.